Dennis, what is up, my friend?
Not too much. Just happy to be happy to be on the show and getting ready for the weekend.
Dennis, it's March 25th, 2022. Did you know that?
I know.
Oh,
Month's almost over.
that is crazy. And so much has happened already in just this first quarter of the year. Wireless and wireline, cable, mobility, the whole thing. And we got plans that are getting modified from the big players, from the small players, phone updates, phone, releases. It's already been a really busy year. I don't know if you've been really like thinking about it collectively like that, but it's been busy.
I haven't been putting too much thought into it, although I will just say if you think this is a busy part of the year, just wait until Q3.
What?
That's all I'm
More?
going to say. All I'm going to say. Just wait till Q3.
All right, man. Well, are we talking mobile? Are we talking wireline? Are we just collectively the competitive landscape? Like, what you
We're
saying, bro?
We're talking like a nuclear bomb is going to be dropped in the telecommunications space, and it's just going to really like. I think it has the potential to be good for the consumer, and other things that might happen based off what I heard might also be bad for the consumer. It's going to be a mixed bag of chips, but I think people are going to start singing their graces about probably companies they didn't think they'd be really rooting for to do things that are good.
Do you think there's certain companies that'll be more active than others?
I think that it depends on which aspect of things we're talking about. If we're talking about mobile wireless specifically, I think that the cable operators are going to end up being very, very aggressive and probably going to be the reason why we start seeing some major discounts happen as far as like AT&T and fiber being bundled and Verizon with Fios being bundled. Like I think that concept of things that we talked about from providers, I think that's going to be like pushing and the discounts are going to get more extreme for limited times. I also think that we're probably going to see this might be one of the most aggressive years for iPhone promos that we've seen to date when it comes to iPhone promotions with the iPhone 14.
Ah, okay. So the next release of the phone, next generation.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a year of very aggressive promos, just due to how expensive the phones are getting, and more specifically as well, Dish should, key emphasis on should, have public plans by that point, and that phone is going to be the only real meaningful iPhone it's supposed to fully support their network. So that's going to be coming into play, and the fact that iPhone 13 was big and all, but 14 is supposed to be more monumental as far as redesign rumors are concerned from Prosser with the 14 Pro Max. So I think that's going to be a big year for the carriers, and we're going to see the landscape change up a little bit because of that. And then also, I think that we're going to start seeing some pretty big uplifts as far as like overall connectivity goes as like a whole like ecosystem of things. And by that I mean like right now, like, we talk about fixed wireless, right? There's a big push for it for the wireless carriers because that's their growth engine, right? And that's the way they're trying to, make people loyal. But I think it'll also be the time when we start seeing some fiber providers actually maybe consider doing things that might have not been considered as a way to attract people to them and to raise the revenue that they're bringing in. I can't say too much because it's mainly rumors, and some of the rumors that I've heard have come from sources that I can't get into too much detail with, but I'll be glad to talk to you behind the scenes about it.
Well, all of it sounds really exciting, Dennis. Thanks for sharing, and we'll be looking forward to those things. What I want to know is, are these things going to happen sequentially? Are they going to happen, bit by bit, piece by piece, or is this going to be like bombshells dropping like once or twice throughout the course of the year, where it's just super, like a drop at once? Because
Some things,
typically when mobile does stuff, it's a very mobile centric time of the year, and then typically when wireline stuff is happening, you see a lot of wireline updates, stuff coming from companies, and they talk about DOCSIS technologies and pricing. You see how it's kind of like seasonal in a way?
Yeah, so some things are gonna be bomb drops, just like you wouldn't have expected it type of deal.
Gotcha.
And those are gonna be coming from smaller companies that probably don't come out of our mouth too often, as far as what they're doing.
Okay.
And that will come in the form of like price drops that are like insane, for their internet product, fiber speed increases, maybe changes in the way data caps are kind of a thing for most ISPs. Maybe we see some changing in the right direction when it comes to that, and all kinds of other aspects of things. And then other things are going to be a little bit more slower, like you mentioned DOCSIS, right? Stuff like that. That's going to be slow.
Hey,
But
we
and
got
that,
we got our first super chat, Dennis.
yeah,
We got Santiago. Thank you for that. What is this? A pair character jumping up and down saying number one fan. Appreciate you, Santiago. You broke the seal, man. Thanks for that, and we appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Glad to have you, and looking forward to all the commentary, guys, in the live chats, and then in advance, because you guys are always so generous and kind and nice. If we forget at the end of the show, and you do throw super chats and donos and stuff, thank you in advance for that. And of course, this is not something you have to do, but we just want to thank you for that because it supports the channel. Big shout out to the homie Mike West and Nimmer. The homie Nimmer is here. Yeah, buddy.
I'm just sending you some private chats. Don't necessarily say it on stream, but I just wanted
Okay.
to give you an idea so you could be a little bit more in the loop.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense, Dennis. We'll talk behind the scenes about that a little bit. TJ, good to see you. Glad you could be here. Let's go ahead and officially start with the first topic of the show. We already kind of lined up what we wanted to cover. So the 3G shutdown process, we're looking at network shutdowns. This is so problematic on so many levels. Okay, so first of all, let's just throw this out there to get this thing started right. Every carrier, every national mobile network operator, even regional ones, are at some point going to have to sunset their 3G networks. And then shortly thereafter, I don't know, what do you think, another year or two, Dennis, they're going to have to shut down 2G and Edge and all of that?
2G is going to be very dependent, because the fact of the matter is, Sneed, is 2G is really not taking up that much spectrum for them. I mean, it's already been reduced to 2 megahertz wide.
Yeah, but just gear operating. It's not just about the spectrum. It's the fact that you've got to power the gear, you got to maintain those radios. It's up there. It's taking up space.
But
You
the
can
reason
put up-
why I bring that up, though, is the cost to maintain is minuscule. In comparison to operating the 3G network, it's minuscule, and there is still a large enough.
In principle, you're shutting down 3G. What is the point to maintain the 2G? Does it monetize better?
Well, that's the thing. There's a large enough segment of the business for enterprise specifically that uses those 2Gs for things like sensors and other Internet of Things related devices, that I could see the potential of that shutdown actually getting delayed just because of those enterprise customers.
The homie Baby Yoda's in the house. Ram is here. Good to have you guys. Jay, good to have you as well. And hashtag Mod Squad. Yeah, so the 3G thing is inevitable. Legacy network shutdowns are inevitable. Every carrier, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, US Cellular, whoever owns a network and operates a 3G network, it's all getting shut down. It's painful, Dennis. It's complicated. It's problematic. There are major hiccups. Phones are getting shut out. Phones are getting turned off, losing service, losing connection to the network. It's messy, bro. Really, really messy right now. One of the things that's being highlighted currently, and it's been a pain point on the prepaid side, Cricket customers, AT&T prepaid. Actually, there may even be some postpaid AT&T customers experiencing these issues, but they're losing complete network connectivity. Their SIMs are dead. People are confirming that to me.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. It's not good for
But these
consumers.
phones are VoLTE, so something is going on, right? This is literally a systems problem with the whitelisting of devices and compatibility. You know what I mean?
That's AT&T being AT&T.
100%. 100%. Yeah,
We
oh, yeah.
talked about this, but like AT&T is not good for Android phones, which is what this is impacting. And AT&T clearly just doesn't have it on their whitelist of like these phones that are getting their quote unquote voice over LTE certified. They're probably not specifically certified with AT&T, and or they're probably like unlocked phones. And those are probably the ones that are getting hit, which that's just AT&T being AT&T when it comes to Android support for devices. I don't like I feel bad like because it is bad, but my answer for phones that are clearly voice over LTE capable is don't reward AT&T, speak with Funbucks, go support another company that's not going to be so head in the sand about it.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, the prepaid people, unfortunately, it's, if it's affecting them the most, they're often the most sensitive to these types of things, I guess. They kind of get caught off guard. They're not in the know. I mean, we do our best, Dennis. I mean, we have to, let's call a spade a spade. At least I can say on my channel, we do our best to try to inform every consumer segment. Don't you think so, Dennis? We do try our best.
Yeah, I'd say we do.
I mean, we cover prepaid, MVNO, postpaid. We cover phones, plans, network shutdowns, legacy tech. This is all in the effort to try to cover all our bases for all of our viewers. You know what I mean? So, what else can we do? I mean, literally, I get people that show up on some of my older videos from several months ago discussing 3G network shutdowns, and they're like, oh, my phone just disconnected. But you never even cared before, right? You never looked into it because you didn't know it was coming. You didn't feel so compelled to check into this. Now you're looking for an answer.
I mean,
So, like, I
I
feel like the
feel like
communications or the interpretation of the situation has people kind of, like, caught off guard, but they really shouldn't be.
so like I don't like defending companies, but I gotta say, most companies are pretty like upfront about trying to reach you when there's major things like that happening. Like they'll try to email you with the email that's on file. They'll send literal physical mail to your mailbox with the address that's on file, and they typically send text messages as well. I know this because my dad, I remember, was getting text messages and stuff like this is like well before like this conversation was happening specifically, and more back when like AT&T was doing something with the localized cell site in that given area that I'm not going to give the address of, but they sent out like literal text messages to anybody that was going to be impacted, and my dad's flip phone was one of the ones getting the text messages. So like I know how AT&T operates. They're old school. They'll definitely notify you because they don't want to lose you as a customer, right? And every company has to literally by law has to notify you when it comes to stuff like this too. So like I feel like these consumers probably just disregarded it, or they probably had inaccurate information that was on file. Like they just never updated with AT&T, so they never got the notifications. But like I'm sure those companies made best effort because
We
cable
got
operators do the same thing. Like when Armstrong was decommissioning DOCSIS 2.0 in order to go to digital, DOCSIS 3.0 and going whole, like entirely digital, dude, they were calling my dad's landline. They were sending emails. They were sending like physical things on the bill statements saying like, hey, this is happening. You have to have a tech out. Like otherwise your service will be turned off on X date. AT&T did the same thing with AT&T DSL. I talked about it like a couple years ago whenever they were decomming their DSL here in like the Pennsylvania footprint. They were crazy notifying. So
we got the homie Oskino. What up, man? Just joined us on the show. You there?
wait, who's Oskino?
Austin, you there?
He said 1 second in the chat.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll see if we can get him in here. I'm not sure about that, Keena. I
Plus,
don't
it
know
was
about
on
that.
the news as well, Sneed. Like it was literally
Oh
on like
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Bro, they like these 3G shutdowns, it's no joke. It impacts a lot of people, a lot of devices, a lot of hardware across the board. So they have done their part, like you said, emails, calls, text messages, account notifications through the app. And they've delayed it 7 times.
There we go.
What up, buddy?
Oh, it took a second. My bad. I
No
was having
problem.
some microphone issues there.
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for letting me on.
Sure.
Yeah, I actually had a couple things to say on it because I see a lot of that 3G sunset stuff firsthand. AT&T has had a couple issues in the past couple of days with certain phones that are actually voice over LTE compatible and certified just completely stop working.
Yep. We've heard about iPhones having issues, bro.
I haven't. I've heard of one iPhone at least that I'm aware of because obviously I go over with a couple of different stores that have had. I've had one that's had an issue, but it seemed to be more of a modem thing than it was an actual network problem, at least from what I could tell. Now, AT&T does have a couple of links with model numbers that do work on their network. So, anything outside of that is pretty much a no-go. And they've basically, rather than these phones being shut off, they're not actually being shut off or disconnected from the network. On the back end side, they're getting these SOC codes that are blocking them from doing anything essentially. So they're not suspending the lines. Some of them they are, some of them they aren't. But unless it on the prepaid, they'll suspend, and then postpaid, they will just put SOC code blocks in the account until you get a different phone.
Good stuff, man. We got another super chat here. This one from the homie MS. Saw today a 22 Ultra with AT&T firmware. Okay.
Sneed, I put the link in the chat if you want to link it to the viewers.
All right, we'll do that. We'll put that in the show notes. I think that's fair, so people kind of know what's going on. Thanks for sharing it, Dennis. And we'll look. I don't mean to beat a dead horse down any more than we already have to, but just to be mindful. The carriers continue to try to tread lightly with this. AT&T has delayed several times. Verizon has delayed, I think, the most. T-Mobile has delayed several times. In fact, they're delaying again in the efforts to support 3G users, coming to good terms with Dish and Boost Mobile, coming to terms with AT&T customers too, supporting them, extending by another month or two. I mean, they are definitely being flexible. The only trouble is now they're coming into problems with devices and SIM cards and systems. And nobody knows what's going to happen until it happens.
I mean, I guess the
bro,
only...
do you know how deep AT&T systems are? It's like 17 systems all bunched into one.
I mean, dude, that's every company. That's every major company.
It's just overlay after overlay after overlay, right?
Yeah, dude, it's literally like they'll have like an old school, like, 'cause this is what happens with companies. Okay, Sneed, if you want to know what happens, just a side rant. What will happen is a company will be using some old third party software. It might be something like CSG, CRM, Acronis, any of those major firms, right? They'll use that software for like their billing and stuff. All the while, they'll have some web based way of doing things with like a pretty GUI to do things, and they'll either pay someone like a Microsoft to develop it, or maybe Microsoft or Oracle or whoever can't develop what they want, so they'll decide to opt to do it in-house. Well, when they start developing that tool in-house, that tool will be missing features that other third-party piece of software was using, and it's still tied into all that other old stuff. So then you have two new systems, and then someone comes along and decides to make a third system to fix X problem, and now you have three systems all tying back into that one old system. You get like a spaghetti of code that just goes down. So
you know what this boils down to, though, gents? It boils down to this. This is going to be problematic on so many different levels. There are so many twists and turns to this. It is imperative to have a truly compatible device. I'm sorry, maybe this takes away some of your purchasing freedoms, but in the case of a company like AT&T, which literally activations on AT&T is like Pandora's box. It's literally a can of worms. Verizon plays pretty nicely with most VoLTE phones. I don't see many issues with many phones. T-Mobile seems to play nice too. AT&T is tough. So you have to know that being in this situation.
I did want to say one thing on the regards to the first. I know you guys were talking about FirstNet either a stream or two ago, and about how some Samsung phones aren't supported. So the U1 model of Samsung phones, because there's two. You have the U, which is sold by the carrier, the U, which is the unlocked one in quotations, because they both can be used on any carrier. The FirstNet authority is actually what causes that phone to not be used.
Yeah, they don't want it on there because it's
Yeah.
not it's not compliant with their firmware
Well,
requirement.
it is. It is. They just refuse to
They
just
have to
let.
whitelist it.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
that's not on AT&T. That is on the
No,
FirstNet
no.
authority.
It
Look,
was a similar problem with the Wi-Fi calling for a while.
the only thing I can say that's not in AT&T's favor is this. Is AT&T, for these customers that are being impacted, I feel like should be giving free phones to replace them. That's the
Well,
one
so
thing.
They
so
have.
they are, but let's be honest though. A lot of these customers are coming in with phones that are I've seen iPhone 4s, I've seen iPhone 5s. They're loyal paying customers, but at the same time, you got to spend at least a little bit of money on a phone every once in a while. You can't be sitting on these phones for as long as some of these
Well, the
people
worst
have.
part is the fact that they're so unresponsive. Until things hit the fan, they respond.
So what I'm saying is, and I think this is being a little bit missed. When I say give free phones, I'm not talking about give like some bottom of the barrel, like no name brand. I want to see like basically
All it
like
takes is
for
an
like.
iPhone.
Yeah,
All it
like
takes
for
is an
like.
iPhone.
So like if they have an iPhone 4 in your example, give them an iPhone SE 3rd gen, the new iPhone SE. And if they're like a person that had a Samsung whatever, give them a 53 or something that's halfway decent, you know?
Yeah, will say they skimped on the Samsung side, 100%. They went with some cheap phones. Now on the iPhone side, they did give iPhone SEs, so
They
they
didn't do
didn't
that for
skimp too bad.
prepaid customers though, I don't believe. They did it for their postpaid side. That's what I'm getting at. Like I'm saying the
Oh
cricket
yeah, yeah.
but
They
that
didn't give a damn about the
but that's what I'm getting
prepaid
at.
side.
Like I'm saying those cricket customers that are impacted should get the same level of treatment that the postpaid side is getting. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the only fault that
I
I can pick with AT&T.
I disagree. You get what you pay for.
All right, guys, I got to do some super chats real quick. We can get back on it. Big shout out to Hector. Made it difficult to catch up this week with the podcast this week. Haha. Yeah, we did a lot. We myself, Dennis, Moose, the gang, Pete. Yeah, we were busy today. They were gracious enough to be on the show. It was just a busy week. And I do like to kind of get the pulse of the people and that you guys ask questions and discuss things in the live chat. And I like long form content. I think a lot of people get a lot of things out of it, and we drop a lot of gems on these podcasts. So hashtag replay crew from Hector, and we appreciate the super chat. There was one more, I believe, after that, and big shout out to Moose. He dropped 2 super chats. He said confirmed eSIM Galaxy S22s not getting provisioning for latest software update on AT&T. I'm telling you guys, if you want this stuff to work for you on AT&T, you just have to play within their guidelines, within their rules, within their process. It's the most, it's the one that seems to be the most problematic with unlocked devices and so and whatever. All these situations, if you're an iPhone user, it's easy. If you're a Galaxy user, there's a couple restrictions, but it's relatively easy. If you're a Google phone user, it's easy. It's the other stuff. It's the unlocked stuff. It's we can line up all the reasons, but that is the bottom line, is whether it's the OEM or it's the firmware or if it's AT&T or if it's FirstNet or if it's whitelisting or blacklisting, whatever. You have to try to stay within those guidelines and parameters if you want to do this without problems.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at, and we'll just go ahead and move on to this next topic. And Mr. Oskina will keep you on for this one. I know you sell devices, but here's what I want to talk about next.
Oh,
And
why is it?
big,
Did you change my name or did it
I
just
I
approve?
I did, and
Oh,
I'll explain.
oh,
I'll
I
explain
didn't
that
notice
later.
that.
It's okay. I'll explain
Okay,
why later.
okay.
The Google phone got a really nice update a couple of days ago, and I'm not trying to be too premature about it, but I am extremely excited about this update because it seems to have addressed a lot of things. The first thing I want to share with you guys is the cellular connectivity has improved exponentially. Firstly, the N77 C-band on Verizon is now enabled. I would love to test the AT&T N77, but I can't because it's not turned on. I have confirmed somewhere between like 18 to 20 Cleveland sites that have received the hardware. The antennas, the radios, they're up. The fiber is getting done. We just don't have sites to test yet because they're not on. So once that happens, I will test for you guys on the Google Pixel. But as of right now, the range on N77 is incredible. I am seeing multiple mile range across several different sites. I will continue to test, but man, it is a breath of fresh air to actually feel like now the Pixel is ready for the big time when it comes to cellular. I'm really happy about this. If you chose not to buy this phone at launch or like within the last couple of months concerned about the cellular, I think we have ourselves a stable update that has pretty much made it the way that Google wants it. It is absolutely compatible and fully usable on the Verizon network if that's why you stayed away. And lastly, it competes with anything that the iPhone can do. So far, so good. I got more testing, but I just want to give you guys the update from a cellular standpoint. This thing is really good now. Very, very nice. I could talk about other things too, but I just want to give you guys that cellular update.
Yeah, so I actually got the S22 Ultra. I have the Pixel 6 Pro, the Z Fold 3, and the Z Flip 3. Uh, I got them through some of them I bought, and then some of them I'm the advocate or the pros for. And so far, I am just started test driving the Pixel, and I don't mind it. I to completely be honest with you, the cellular on the Samsung is just superior, hands down, still. But it hasn't been a bad experience at all on the cellular side, at least for me.
I do have to test the new Samsung Galaxy S22. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna test it, and I want to compare the two devices because so far I've been testing the iPhone 13 Pro, and I've been testing the Google Pixel 6 Pro, and I'm kind of giving the edge to the Google Pixel 6 Pro on N77. On cbrs, there's no real measurable difference. I am seeing a slightly better range out of the
S-
Google phone.
Well,
So,
Sneed, I just want to say, for millimeter wave specifically, the Pixel 6 Pro is really bad.
well, I got to test that this weekend. So I'll be at the bakery. I'm going to do some testing around the neighborhoods. I'll be testing within the bakery, the surrounding area, the parking lot, we own a couple of blocks over there. So I'll test around the area and I'll drive up and down those streets and we'll test multiple nodes and we'll see.
Well, this is from experience when I was in Stetson up in Denver. The Pixel 6 Pro essentially got about half the speed that the iPhone 13s and the Galaxy S21.
When did you
Uh,
test, Dennis?
this was been earlier in the year when I was down in Denver to see Stetson.
Okay. So I'm going to be testing this post March update. We'll see if there was anything in that update that changes that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that capacity wise, I was getting more speed out of millimeter wave, the N260, from the iPhone than the Pixel, even after the update, the initial update, which I think was like December or January.
And then one other thing I just want to say, when you do your testing of the S22 Ultra, there's something specific that I want to point out from my testing that I've noticed, and it goes like this. The iPhone could get higher peak speeds when I was right next to the cell site. Okay. But the S22 performed significantly better on cell edge and in like mid cell. So that was what I got from however long now I've had an S22 Ultra doing testing when it came to
Man,
C-band.
I wish the iPhone was easier to work with, monitoring RSRP and all that. I'd like to see that. And then do the Galaxy and do the Pixel. Now, the one thing that is true, and Nimmer chimes in on this, the Pixels can't aggregate as many carriers because of the modem. That is true. The bandwidth just simply is not there. Like they can't do the same number of channels. So that is true. It is not an equivalent hardware. But in my experience, and I'm not making an excuse, I'm understanding of it. But like we're talking about 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 megahertz of bandwidth. If I'm getting a 2.5 gigabit per second speed test, and then from the same spot on the iPhone, I'm getting 3.2. I'm not throwing that phone in the trash, you know, just because it's not getting 3.2 gigs like the iPhone. What is important to me though, Dennis, would be like, does the iPhone have the same range? Does it have more range or less range? Because holding on to the signal is probably more important than the additional 700 megabits per second on a 3 gigabit per second connection.
If you're talking about range, that goes to the Galaxy S22 hands down.
Right. So that's and I can't wait to get the Galaxy so I can test the iPhone, test the Pixel, test the Galaxy, look at the RSRPs, really do a deep dive because I'm already starting to do that for N77. I'm going to do the same thing for millimeter wave, try some different conditions, and we'll see what comes up. And I'll collect some data and I'll kind of report back.
Pete, before you talk, because I know you're itching at the bit, I have one thing I want to say. I want to say one thing about the Galaxy S22 though. It's so good about holding on to cell edge that I honestly would actually put that in the detriment camp because it'll oftentimes not want to switch to a different cell site when it has better RSRP values.
That's going to just need updates. That's, you know.
Like, i.e., I'll be connected to like a 5G UW site, okay? And I might have legit like a minus 120 RSRP. Like I'm talking like I can't believe it's still connected and performance will be terrible. But meanwhile, there's a closer site, albeit not 5G UW, that has plenty of capacity, and it should be switching to that.
That depends on how the modem is set up. I know the 6 Pro at least, it's greedy with mid-band 5G. As in, if there's mid-band 5G in the area, it's going to jump on that. Then it will do millimeter wave, then low-band 5G, then LTE.
So I have an actual, like, this is completely a hypothesis on my side. I'm speculating. I'm thinking aloud. I just want you guys to kind of take in what I'm going to throw out there, and you guys tell me what you think. I think the reason why Verizon and the Pixel 6 Pro have not really been playing nicely is because I think Verizon has, with Google, I think they've been working on this exact situation. How do we get this phone, this modem, these antennas to cling on to this ultra wideband signal as much as possible, even to the detriment, like Dennis is saying, where the quality of the signal might even be lesser, but it's still going to want to stick because the assumption is with more bandwidth, faster downlink speed, which ultimately may be the most important thing in today's mobile networks. I get it. But the uplink speed is going to be terrible. I've tested it. I have found this to be the case. In the last 2 days, I have noticed when the Google Pixel 6 Pro hangs on to the N77 5G ultra wideband, the RSRP drops to minus 123. The phone will stick to it like glue. The downlink is good, 140, 150. For edge cell, I think that's good. What happens is the uplink suffers something so fierce. I'm literally talking 1 to 3 megabits.
Steve, I'm talking 0.3 for my use case.
See, even worse. And I also will mention Sinar starts to get real nasty. Go ahead, Pete.
It works that way on T-Mobile as well with the 6 Pro, where it will greedily hold on to N41 longer than it should. And I've been in locations where the N41 was only like 170 megs down and 2 megs up, whereas the N71, if I was connected to that, I'd be getting about the same download, but significantly higher upload.
I'm going to just mention an unpopular opinion real quick, because I know it's going to be mixed, but I feel like Samsung nailed it with the S21 when it came to like what bands to connect to, when to drop off, all that good stuff. I actually feel like that was like the right sweet spot.
Yeah, but they didn't have to deal with the new channels. This is a totally new ball game, homie. The handoffs are new. The channel is new. The bandwidth is new. It's like you having the combination to the you got the code to the lock, and then all of a sudden I come in and I change the lock.
And we're going to be finding denser coverage.
Oh my God, Pete! Perfect, bro. Perfect. What Pete is bringing up is this, guys, and he's going to go into detail, I'm sure. The carriers have to navigate this. They have to densify, and they have to adjust these towers. They have to adjust the azimuth. They have to adjust the sectors. They have to adjust the down tilt. These towers are going to get noisy if they don't figure these things out. Go ahead, Pete.
Keep talking. I'm actually going to illustrate this.
What I was kind of alluding to is we're seeing up to 3 miles in range on N77. Do you know how noisy that can make neighboring cells? Like people, it's no joke. The N77 is not a low range capacity band. It is a mid to high range capacity band. It behaves just like AWS. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
It's really
This stuff is
damn
high
loud.
powered, and it is really good.
It's a really damn loud frequency.
We doing the whiteboard, Pete?
Yeah.
If you are, you don't have your camera on.
I'm drawing 3 hexagons, or trying to, before turning it on.
Hey, Sneed, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With how C-band is currently being deployed, do you think that it is of more... Do you think C-band is better than N41 current day today? Not future, just today.
I don't want to comment. Yes. I don't want to comment because I have been ridiculed. I have been accused of things. People have disrespected me. People have questioned my credibility. I'd rather not comment on it. I think I'll just kind of let Pete talk about it then.
Oh, by the way,
big shout out to Pete's shirt. Yeah.
So imagine I don't suck at drawing hexagons. That's step 1. Conventional. In a conventional cell grid, if my hexagons didn't suck, we'd have 4 hexagons pretty much interlocking. This is the expectation for PCS, so to say. And
2 for those of you out there.
Yeah, the idea is that they have a fall off, and when they start falling off, you'll end up in an area where there's a PCS at roughly the same frequency owned by the same carrier with more power, and it will just fall off into more power and have a simple handoff. An issue that is being encountered with N77, and I hope when we finally convert N41 to FDD, is if you consider this the cell and this the PCS range, high-powered N77, you're looking at this range, and it's basically overlapping this tower, and the tower over here, and the tower over here.
Yeah, and a little bit at the bottom right, and it could spill over, right?
It will spill over from this tower, and the idea is that it has the coverage, technically based on 4G rules. Even if the tower is here and you're standing within a kilometer of it, but anchored to this one, you're still strong enough to that one to have a consistent connection under the definition of consistent in 4G. So what the carriers and the RF, the modem and the antenna makers and the networking as a service people have to do, RF engineers like our friend, is find a way to have these towers coordinate with each other to find an equitable handshake that is indistinguishable.
Clean.
The problem now is we're used to greedy towers that are inconsistent, and they're not used to the densification. So if, say, this is a N71, and this is an N41. Doing that, you wouldn't have much of an overlap, and you'd have a slight gap.
Which the N71 would compensate.
Yeah. But having everything be N77 in this case, you don't have the gap, and if it is at appropriate density, you may still find that you walking from this one to the further one before it hands off, based on how LTE works. And by the way, thank you, Alexis, for the $10 super chat. You were generous, my friend. Says, how much usability testing do each of the vendors and carriers do?
And that is a really good question. I don't know. I really do not know.
I'll give the answer.
I bet you this. I bet you it's not enough.
You read my mind. The answer is it's not enough.
It's not enough. Like, people like us are so crucial to this information, but yet they don't collect it from us. They don't ask us to do it. They don't reward us or encourage us to do it. We're kind of just like out here.
Can I just say,
thanks, Alexis.
I wish carriers would do what Dish is doing when it comes to finding out how their network is and their deployment.
They kind of did it out of necessity, right, Dennis?
I mean, Dish is doing it out of necessity, but just because they're doing it out of necessity doesn't mean it's not the smart move. Like,
oh, it absolutely is smart.
Like, the idea of gamifying it, rewarding the people for doing this work for you in a pretty cheap and affordable way, and then also collecting really useful information because this is real world testing, that is invaluable for making a superior network.
Hey, Sneed, if 1 second. So I have shared the link with all my coworkers. So first, I want to shout all of them out who are watching.
Hey, and then my boss, shout out to the homies, yeah.
My boss really wants me to say that we sell, not spell. That's one of his rules. We sell, not spell.
What does that mean?
Essentially, we're in these chats and we can't spell worth a damn. So instead of saying that we can spell, because that's not what we do, we sell.
They specialize in sales, my friend.
Well,
which is something I suck at.
To anybody that's coming in, if you ever want to actually come on the show, I don't know how Sneed feels, but best phone plans, we're always welcoming people. So,
and I shout out Cody Breber. He's my coworker.
Oh snap! Big shout out to Code. What up, bro? And big shout out to John. Thanks for the super chat. Pete, don't screw up my last name. Come on, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much, John Michelanian. I just screwed it up, didn't I?
So Joey
McCalian.
actually
John McCanian. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat. I did screw up your last name. Whoops.
So Joey commented about the old discontinued AT&T Mark the Spot app.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was one of those. They took away quite a few things, and that was one of the apps that was just removed. I don't think they realistically looked at as much of it as you think they did, and so it just kind of got to the point where they didn't feel like they needed it.
Yeah. But Sneed, I want to go back to something because you never answered the question. You were saying you wouldn't answer because people were saying bad things, and I just want to throw something out here. Who cares what they say? I'm never going to give you a bad comment for your opinion. So Sneed.
I know you respect me, Dennis, and I respect you. You're my friend. And Pete respects me. Oskino respects me. I know. But, dog, like, people come at me. Like, people disrespect my family over carrier opinions. It's crazy.
Well, then let me give my opinion because I'm happy to share. Here's my opinion to my own question I asked, which, to repeat the question for everybody coming in, I asked Sneed, is C-band today better than N41 today? Not the future, just talking about today. And my short answer is no. That's my short answer. And the reason I'm saying no is simply because N41 has, at this point, become more widely accessible across a wider variety of handsets. And
I mean, look at AT&T requiring you to get a new phone that costs over $800.
yeah, and for the most part, I'm not saying this is the case for everywhere, but for the most part, at least here in Pittsburgh, I finally noticed T-Mobile getting their head out of their own butt and
Maybe you
correcting
got
some of the
a
problems.
maybe you got a new senior RF guy for your market.
Maybe. Or money got thrown in the market and that just fixed the problem. I don't know what it is, but point being, I'm seeing N41 start performing more like N41 should be performing, and I imagine that's probably happening across in other places as well. That being said, C-band, although being less available, every single time I've connected to it has been a consistent experience, which is fantastic. It's just the problem of you got to have the right phone and you have to be in one of those areas. So right now, that's why I formed my conclusion at the moment, which I bet you no one was expecting me to say.
Wait till we have M3, man.
Pete, do you have any comments? Do you agree with my sentiment or disagree?
I just say that in some markets N41's not there and N77 is there, and in others N77 isn't there and N41 is not there. N41 has more coverage. It's been available on devices going back to 2018. And they're both playing the densification game, which is required to get the features. So we are still tasting the sample of what these good large mid-band capacity layers can do for mobility and personally I like augmented reality over virtual reality. So now one day I want to be driving around with the car, get more information on my exits using V2X conversations over that. Maybe get some rich experience if a tour guide's not around.
Hey, Sneed, since we're talking about N77, what's the big update, by the way?
Look, man, I did some testing today, and I locked in a site, a suburban site. AT&T's at the top. Dish is next. T-Mobile's right under that. And then Verizon's at the bottom. And Verizon's got N41 on the site. It's been active for a couple of weeks. AT&T's putting the C-band at the top of the site. They're doing that now. They're doing the fiber and then doing the antennas and the radios. T-Mobile already has N41 in there, and Dish has their gear up there. I was able to pull over 300 megabits per second from about 1.5 miles away at an RSRP of 102 or 103.
Was this the one that you premiered today?
No, this was right after work. I didn't even make footage on it yet. I have to go back and do that. I'm going to make some content. But remember, I wanted to get back and do the show, so I didn't really have a lot of time. But I'm going to do a recording. I'm going to get some footage of this. I just wanted to see what the range was. I literally stretched it almost 3 miles. I think it was like 2.7 miles. Mind you, the site is at the bottom. Almost 3 miles away, Dennis. The RSRP stayed connected to N77 until about minus 124 RSRP, and then it dropped out. And I told you, like, the speeds weren't that great. It was like 130 by 3, 130 by 4. But it worked from almost 3 miles at the bottom of the site. This spectrum is so good. I'm so excited about this, and here's why. This channel is brand new. This gear is brand new. The spectrum depth of the channel is only 1/3 of its potential. And the power isn't even all the way up. This is the Goldilocks spectrum. They were right. Whoever called it that on, I don't know who it was. It was some kind of like market analyst. I don't know who it was. He said, this is the Goldilocks 5G spectrum. He's right. Whoever said that is right. Because Samsung gear isn't even that great. The Ericsson's way better. So there are people who are getting better upgrades than even I'm seeing. This is going to be so game changing for people that have Cox Home Internet and who have horrible DSL and Viasat. Literally, whenever these companies, I don't care if it's T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T, whoever does upgrades around, you are going to get huge benefits from this spectrum. This is worth every piece of trouble it caused. The FAA, the auctions, the satellite companies, the the discontiguous nature of N77 with 3.45 and 3.7. It's all worth it. This stuff is going to be amazing. Pete, can you speak to it?
I will say that there's a reason why it was initially chopped out for avionic navigation. And I don't know, have you tested it in the rain yet, Sneed?
I'm sorry, Pete, one more time.
Have you tested N77 in the rain?
Yeah. It's been
pretty
raining
dang good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same. There's no
difference. So for some reason this frequency has close properties for sub 1 gigahertz when it goes to traveling through the wet. You go above 6 gigahertz and water, unless the frequency has been attenuated and is assuming Doppler requirements and is getting beamed with certain MIMO standards, above 6 gigahertz in the wet might as well not be there unless they optimize it. But sub 4, I wish I had a tuning fork that could do it and then ping it against my microphone. Has a decent pitch, and it, as you've said, if you ring it loud enough, you can get a good 6.5 kilometers off it.
And I want to make sure that I make this very clear. This has nothing to do with carriers.
No,
I didn't say Verizon. I didn't say AT&T. I didn't say T-Mobile specifically. I didn't name any of them by name.
When they all deploy it, we're all gonna win.
That's my point, Pete. I'm talking about the spectrum. I'm talking about the frequency.
I'm just a little annoyed that the DoD had to carve out some of that because I could have been playing with that myself.
Right.
Listen, I am also very much in the boat that you are, Sneed, where I'm very excited to see it. I also want it to be deployed as fast as possible, and I'm optimistic as far as where it can go, as far as like capacity and everything goes. That being said, there is one semi-ish small concern that I do have, and that is, I hope that because of the fact that it has this type of range that you're seeing, companies like Verizon don't basically deploy a network that looks kind of like what T-Mobile's does right now when it comes to the density aspect of things. I really hope that we still see them focus on their millimeter wave deployment and don't just go macro based.
I mean, that's the name of the game is density.
I know, but they're still a company. If they think they can, if they think that that's going to be the way to raise their profits, I could totally see Verizon slowly reducing their millimeter wave deployment.
Well, they did say that they were going to be upgrading the same number of sites annually, so 14 to 17,000 continues.
Although the last live I was on, Steve and I were commenting about how the FCC should have cleared mid-band, sold that off, and then done the millimeter wave.
Well, the bigger problem, Pete, the bigger concern was no auctions, no mid-band auctions, and then forcing the carriers to basically start with low band, which is stupid. Who cares about low band 5G?
Aside from me, nobody.
No, it's not even, Pete. You'd rather take another site closer to you than low band.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the same page, right?
Oh, yeah.
You'd rather a
But,
site within a mile of your house with mid-band than to take frickin' low band that's 3 miles away.
But then again, I'm an odd case. I prefer coverage over, like, the ability to pick up and make a phone call over anything else.
I mean, I prefer that too, Pete. Like, I want the ability to place a phone call too, but here's the thing. This isn't 2007 anymore. The most important thing is data.
Hey. Don't point out how old I am.
I'm not trying to make an ageism comment. I'm just
You're
saying
ageisming me, man.
I'm just saying the times have changed, that like data is the core for everything in our lives. Like when it comes to how we consume our entertainment, when it comes to how we connect with one another, everything goes through data. Everything is VoIP. Everything is video over IP. There's no longer like some hodgepodge of standards. Everything is going that route. So data is the most mission critical thing for all aspects of how our world revolves around. And low band, outside of like some Internet of Things related devices.
Hey, I've written 2 papers on IoT devices.
Right. So, but I'm saying like low band, I'm not saying is useless. I don't have that extreme point, but it's a scalpel. It has a use case, but that use case isn't going to fulfill the needs of the majority of consumers that are doing things on their little mini computers that are in their pocket that are infinite times more powerful than the computer that sends someone to the moon. You know?
Hey. Telling me my slide ruler isn't powerful enough?
Oh God! Bring out the abacus or whatever you called that thing when we were. Show these people how you do your numbers. He has a literal. It's called an abacus, right?
Yeah, and I actually do check my hexadecimal math on this. So I'll do it from the side.
But hey,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're getting close to that hour mark. Do you want to sneak in that last little thing in regards to some new plans, or not new plans, new features being added to plans?
Yeah, man, let's talk about it.
All right, so for anybody that caught the stream yesterday that me and Stetson did, you'll already be in the know. But for anybody that didn't, US Mobile, who is an MVNO that uses Verizon's network, just got postpaid priority access for their plans. The caveat being, though, you have to have a 5G capable phone. But if you have a 5G capable phone, you get postpaid priority access across all their plans.
I want to bring Stetson around and put a US Mobile SIM in my Pixel 3 XL and see if it gets a QCI of 9.
So, with that being said, what is everyone's thoughts?
I think I'll jump in first, I guess. I'm really excited about this plan. I know there are a lot of people out there, Dennis, that want Verizon but don't want Verizon. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. I would fall in that camp.
They want Verizon networking. They don't want Verizon pricing on postpaid. So, and they don't want visible access. Right? They don't want the DPRIO. They don't want the minimalist features, when it comes to the cellular networking. So, they want some priority. They want some premium data. They want access to the good experience as opposed to the second tier, deprived, slowed experience. So this gives it to them, and it gives it to them at a decent price. I don't know if you guys are catching this, man, but I'm catching what Verizon's throwing. Verizon is perfectly fine selling you discounted service. They just don't want to serve you as a customer. They want you to deal with another company. So they're looking at it like, yeah, we'll resell our service and our access to anyone, but we don't want to deal with the customer relation part. That's money for us. Like time is money. So we got to pay customer care reps. We got to deal with your problems. No, we're going to let another company do that. We're just going to let them lease space on the network.
So I do want to ask, why do you think we're seeing this change? Because this isn't actually the first instance of this. Xfinity Mobile was another use case that we found out about where if you're on a 5G phone, you get postpaid priority access, because it was actually deep prior to that on the unlimited plan, but now it's not. So why do you think we're seeing this change specifically with the caveat of a 5G phone?
It's the ultra wideband. You know, it's the ultra wideband access, unfettered, uncapped. You know, get it on those channels, and you know the way that the SIM will provision. It's a Verizon thing, obviously. It's not really a US Mobile thing.
But they're not doing that. But Verizon isn't doing that with their own prepaid brand, and they're not doing it with their Verizon Start. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's the MVNO structure on their systems.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that kind of resonated with me as how that could be the thing, because the same thing exists with Total Wireless.
I can't see the person's name because you have a thing in the way. But the person starts on Austin. Okay, you're Austin. Cool.
Yeah.
Austin, what are your thoughts? You're being awful quiet.
Oh yeah, sorry. My stores haven't closed yet, so I'm still technically working a little bit. But no, I think it's great for the consumer. I think US Mobile is the perfect company to do something like that with. They bring a great customer service, and they bring a very postpaid-like aspect to them, right? From what they offer, how they do their customer service, and they're very good, clean MVNO. I've used them before. Highly, if you're looking for a Verizon alternative, they're a great MVNO.
Hey, and Sneed, just as one other follow-up to you, man. With how competitive the MVNO space is getting, to the point of really being honestly on par with, if not better than, a postpaid experience, what are the reasons to keep sticking with Verizon postpaid? I mean, if both are giving you priority data, right? But in this case, US Mobile is giving you a better price, and I would argue a better experience overall because their app is absolutely legendary. Why should someone even pick to be on Verizon postpaid?
Most accounts are multi-line.
I mean, but US Mobile has a multi-line discount. That's what makes them great.
So what's the pricing on that plan when it goes multi-line?
If we're talking about unlimited, so let's just keep it to unlimited to keep it simple, because you could actually do it with their by the gig options too. But for unlimited, if memory serves me, I think 4 lines is $100, and that's tax and fees included, and you get the perks of 2 streaming services of your choice.
4 lines on priority data?
Yep.
Is $100?
I'm taking a look at that right now.
And you get to pick 2 entertainment perks?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And it's tethering hotspot included?
Hotspot, I believe, is an add-on. If someone can double confirm for me, I can't remember.
So for 3 lines, it's $25 a line for unlimited. So I would assume 4 lines is $100 with that logic. Yeah, you get the 2 free. The 2 free. Man, I can't speak. The 2 free streaming options, and then as far as the hotspot is concerned,
it is a $10 add-on.
I think it is an add-on, but I think it's an add-on with like the Warp 5G, which is just millimeter wave.
Yeah, so it's an add-on, and I think you get like what? Isn't it like 10 or 15 gigabytes of hotspot?
Okay, so you could add that like per line.
20. Oh, it's 20 hotspot. Okay.
You could add it like per line. It doesn't have to be on all the lines, right?
Yeah,
right.
They do like a mix and match kind of thing.
See, that's pretty nice structure. And then Carlos says after 75 gigs, it's 1 megabit per second. I mean, man, I think I could get away with 75 gigs.
Yeah, but if memory serves me, and Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 95% sure that if you're on millimeter wave, that 1 megabit throttle doesn't matter.
Well, I guess we'll have to test it, right? I might have to get a line. Should I reach out to US Mobile, or should I just buy a line?
I mean, Ahmed's a really cool guy, but honestly,
They're not that expensive. I've just bought a line when I did it.
I was gonna say I'm all for you just buying it. Like I did the same thing. I bought a line too, just because I wanted to support them. I like what they're doing. So
yeah, they do like traveling abroad stuff too, and they do the whole thing. It's very interesting and impressive what they do. They
They're
even
very
do
thorough,
business
aren't they?
stuff too.
They're very thorough. Like they cover. every
Dude,
consumer angle of these plans.
Dude, my favorite thing that they do is I love their like not their actual bucket plans, but they actually have like I think they call it like a party pool or something, where basically you literally pay like $2 for a gigabyte of data, like it's like $2 a gig, and then you could have like essentially an infinite amount of people sharing that data, and like the cost, like there's not really a line cost per se. It's like something stupid cheap, and dude, I need to like find it on the website. It's been a minute since we covered them, but look, TLDR, US Mobile, I'm a big fan of them. In the same way that I like Mint for what they do, US Mobile falls very favorably in my eyes. We've had the CEO on before, Ahmed, on a couple of the podcast shows. He's an awesome guy, very open minded to talk to, and it's clear to me that like he cares about the business that he does, and it's clearly demonstrated in the fact that they have an incredible app experience. If anything, I think the best way I can describe US Mobile, and I mean this as a compliment if anybody from US Mobile ends up hearing this, is that US Mobile is essentially a tech company that happens to sell cell phone service. Basically, I'm saying they take the approach of like a Netflix when it comes to consumer experience. Like they are very, very good.
Yeah, they also do a T-Mobile MVNO too.
Yeah, but that one's
access,
not.
But just something to note.
Yeah, that one's really not good. In fact, I think they just put a 35 gig cap because of T-Mobile on that unlimited plan. If you go with them, go with Verizon. Like they're much better on Verizon.
Hey, gonna shout out MS here for with a $2.71 super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity, MS. Hope all is doing well, man. Says you should invite Ahmed on your live stream, the US Mobile guy. Maybe that way you could get yourself a Tesla line, Sneed.
Well, here's what we should do. Why not have him come back on best phone plans for a third round and have Sneed on?
Oh, snap.
Dude, I loved the last two talks you had with him.
I very much enjoyed him as well. In fact,
I mean, if I wasn't T-Mobile for Business after that second one, he might have sold me on his platform.
I'll just say this too. If you watch that stream, I commented about his jacket, and he was nice enough to give me and Stetson a US Mobile like branded North Face jacket. I'm telling you, dude, he's a cool guy.
Oh, damn, that's nice.
Yeah, man, he's great. He's a really great guy. Oh, they just started selling business plans. I didn't realize this was a thing.
Well, maybe Sia and I need to talk with him, with you and Stetson, and talk about the business plans.
Definitely.
Do some advertising.
Sorry for getting sidetracked, and sorry for talking up US Mobile so much. I appreciate them as a company, so they deserve my kind words.
Yeah, I think they're deserving of the attention. I think they're doing good things. The plans are competitive. Dare I say ultra competitive, considering the priority, right? They compete with like postpaid.
I mean, not just that, but like they literally even compete with Mint as far as like Mint's able to get the pricing they do because of bulk price, but US Mobile just does it out the rip. I mean, if you look at their plans, dude, $15 for 5 gigs.
4-line unlimited on US Mobile gives you unfettered unlimited and costs the same amount of line as Visible on the party pay. So at that point, they're kicking Visible's ass.
And don't forget, you get 2 streaming service picks, one video and then one from one of the 3, like one from each of the categories. They have to be different categories, but like you get like literally like HBO Max with your PlayStation Plus, for example. It's pretty good.
There's value, right?
The only thing that is against them is what Carlos pointed out, which is the 75 gig cap. But realistically speaking, I don't think 75 gigs is that unreasonable. I mean, it's better than most MVNOs that are out there.
Well,
so.
I think what you got to do is this. You have to look at it like, do I want to speed test every 5 seconds on this connection? Because if that's the case, your data is going to get chewed up. But if you don't speed test, 75 gigs, you know how that works out? That's probably 2 to 3 hours of on-screen video a day, plus hours of music, plus all of your social media stuff, Instagram, TikTok. Like you you will not exceed 30 or 40 gigs. You could do all of that with 2 gigs a day.
Hey, Sneed, I think Lewis outed you on the price you're paying for your Verizon lines.
All right, let's see what old Sneed is paying for Verizon. $250 for 8 lines on postpaid. Yeah, I understand, Los, but my account is not available to anyone anymore. I have an old account that's got this old pricing that's really good. Yeah, my plan works out to $30 a line. Nobody else can get that unless they go into Starter Unlimited.
Hey, Sneed, I pay about that for my 11 lines financing 2 phones.
Now,
well, it's different
Yeah.
apples to oranges.
Now, I will just say the only option that might, this is a big if and a might, be better for people that want a postpaid experience, and that's the caveat, is like something like Xfinity Mobile. And the only reason I say that is because of device financing. That's the only reason I bring it up. It's the only option you can get on Verizon that actually allows device financing that I'm aware of.
Another
thing. You're looking at a BYOD type setup with this. It works out pretty nicely.
That's why I added the caveat.
Yeah.
I added 2 key caveats.
Yeah, I mean, but think about it, Dennis. There is a large enough customer segment where it's BYOD. They're good with that. Don't need financing. They're good with that. Don't need postpaid perks. They're good with that. They're looking at this like, man, I'm going to get priority access. I'm going to get, a couple of little entertainment perks. I'm getting good pricing. It fits the bill. Actually, I would argue that for the network tech enthusiast, with the exception of speed testing, this fits the bill for most people.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I had that caveat. Oh, also, Sneed, on the topic of little fun facts, I don't know if you saw this on last night's stream, but did you see Xfinity actually officially in their verbiage on their website talked about ultra wideband not counting against your 20 gigabyte threshold? Did you catch that part of the stream?
Was that in the back half of the stream?
Probably.
Okay, because that's the part I was in and out. I was jumping in and out of the stream.
Well, look, it's official on the website. Like, it's no longer just me and Stetson.
So we're talking if the UW icon is up, it doesn't count.
Correct. C-band and mmWave do not count against your 20
and
gigabyte
those lines
threshold.
Are coming in at $30, Dennis.
Yes, there's 4 lines for 30 a piece. Yes.
All right.
But the reason I bring it up, though, and this is the important part, hotspot falls in that same camp. You get unfettered hotspot data in this scenario.
Yeah, that's the structure on my Verizon plan too. I have the the old grandfathered add-on on the old grandfathered account. So mine's set up the same way, but I don't know about these new plans. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because if you were like a power user and you happen to live in an area where Verizon actually has UW widely deployed, you effectively have a true unlimited plan. Effectively,
Yeah.
It's actually better. It's actually better than Verizon's current plans because if you remember, one of the changes they did with the new generation of plans is they capped your hotspot at 3 meg after you go over the high speed allotment.
That's right. Remember that happened a little bit later last year, right?
That happened at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, I remember when the rumors were coming out in December, and then we got confirmation in January. And
Jose, the 20 gigabyte cap is only that only applies if you're using like normal like nationwide 5G or like LTE. Does not count against your ultra wideband.
Wait! Isn't Verizon's nationwide 5G spectrum they're ripping out of their LTE network?
It's the same thing. It's
that DSS icon.
I swear, bro. Like literally, they shouldn't even bother at this point. You got a dedicated 5G midband channel. Just go with that.
Let's call the DSS 5G minus.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, if you want real quick, Sneed, let me just share my screen. I can show people the verbiage.
I mean, most of the time when I'm on DSS, N77 kicks the living daylights out of it.
So, is my screen up, by the way?
There we go.
Sweet. So let me just make that big. So right here, please note, C-band spectrum and ultra wideband data use do not contribute towards the 20 gigabyte usage threshold. Right there.
So if you're in a market with that, it's an even better value. If you're in a market without that, you better be on their hotspots.
Yeah, but they're the only company that I'm aware of. Wow, that's a lie because I don't think Verizon or does Verizon count ultra wideband access against your priority data cap by chance?
No.
No.
Okay.
Even I know
I
that.
can't wait. I can't wait for the day where none of this exists anymore.
Like true unlimited plans become a thing? Is that what you're referring to?
Like all the asterisk stuff. Like get that stuff out of here, bro.
I'm waiting for the day. It's probably when we're getting two carrier aggregation on N41 with T-Mobile. But I'm waiting for the day that the ultra capacity stuff T-Mobile offers gives you the Magenta MAX experience even on Essentials.
I'll be excited for the day when their N77 and N41 is aggregating.
I'll be excited for the day when instead of having these arbitrary video throttles, we just start getting actual bitrate speed tiers that we buy for with true unlimited. So, i.e., if you want to have an essentials plan, make it say like 20 meg, have your next tier up be like 50, and then like your most premium plan just be truly unthrottled, where whatever the network can throw at it, you get.
To avoid that VPN thing that you have to do with Verizon.
Dude, on the topic of Verizon, do you want to hear my update on my data usage for the FiOS testing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, real quick. Shout out to Dan Tana. Tana, you're so lit. $11 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, man. He just says, yo.
Yeah, what up, Tana? So lit. What up, why?
Do you want to guess real quick what I'm at?
Thanks, Dan Tana. Let's 7 teras.
I'm going with 8.
69.
Sneed was actually right. I mean, I'm a little under, but yeah, basically 7 terabytes.
Because it's been like 3 days since we spoke about this. You're at about 2 a day, right?
You better degauss your hard drives and then start filling them up again with the same crap.
Well, actually, what I was doing was downloading. I have a lot more space than you think I do, Pete. But I was downloading everything, and I started backing up some stuff to the unlimited Google Drive storage, and I actually ran up against the maximum amount that you can upload to Google Drive in one day.
What is that, like 500 gigs?
750 gigs.
Man, they updated that.
Yeah, that was something I also learned.
Hey, shout outs to EM Tech.
Hey, Pete, real quick. Pete, this is comment of the day, bro.
Yeah, $2 super chat from EM Tech. Thank you so much for your generosity, man. It says Verizon and VPNs got me heated, brah. So, yeah. The idea of aggregating N77 and N41 got me heated up, brah.
But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied right now with the fact that Verizon has not contacted me at all. So
let's see what happens after 30 days, young man.
They're not going to contact you. They're going to bring some guy in an unmarked truck over there with some hedge clippers. He's just going to snip your cable without telling you. And leave.
I personally think it's going to be a very formal but friendly warning through email.
By the way, Sneed, I'm kidding. That's more of an AT&T move.
Do you think it'll be a
attack with like Edward Scissors hands?
It just snips and leaves.
Do you think it'll be a friendly way of saying F off and reduce usage?
They'll say, hey, this residential service
is residential.
Typically, customers use X amount of data. You know the routine, bro.
So typical customers use 300 gigabytes per household, and you're exceeding it by like 20
by 7,000%. Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, Alexis chimes in. We could talk about history of plans since the 70s. It repeats. The early adopter phase eventually becomes unlimited when a new technology gets close, and then the life cycle repeats. I think he's right, Jens.
Wait, is he saying that data buckets will come back? Is that what he's going for with this?
Well, when something new and better comes out, that's when it starts over. But the thing that's old gets really user friendly. because it's been overtaken by something that's new and shiny.
Hey, Sneed, what do you think the chances are that we could see a revival of the data bucket?
Well, I mean,
In the form of like let me clarify the form of this by what I mean. Basically, X amount of fast data and then just a hard throttle.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Dennis. When have the carriers ever been more profitable?
Never.
And what has happened over the last few years? What type of plans?
Corporate greed.
Unlimited.
They have executed that to the fullest. They have sold us as unlimited being the way.
Yes, but can I say something that's kind of not fair with this debate here? And that is cost of operation to maintain a network has gone down year over year compared to when you're talking about back then. And also, taxes have never been so low for corporations.
Yeah, but that only helps out their profitability. It's not changing our cost. Like, so I'm looking at this as a two sides. Carriers have only been able to go unlimited because customers haven't really been using it as unlimited, and B, their ARPU has spiked. So they have literally gone from like a customer paying $40 a line to now the average being $52 a line. This is just arbitrary numbers, 40 to 52, and the customer has only by a small percentage increased their usage. Like, to give you perspective, the cost has gone up, the customer growth has gone up. Think about it, right? Like, Verizon now has 130 million postpaid customers. T-Mobile has over 105 million. AT&T has 104 million. They've increased the number of customers who have unlimited data plans, which is the most profitable segment of their business. They're winning. By going unlimited, they made the customer feel like they were getting something, and they increased their ARPU. They're winning. And all they had to do, right, was make their networks capacitive enough, right? So they spent on the network, but let's look at the numbers. How much profit do they generate on an annual basis? Does it warrant upgrading wireless networks 10 to 12 billion annually? Obviously it does, because they're paying shareholders, they're paying investors, they're paying dividends, they're doing share buybacks, they're still buying corporate yachts, right, Pete? Is Hans still on the yacht? Is Stanky still on the yacht? Is Sievert still on the yacht?
I don't know about Sievert, but he doesn't seem like a yacht enthusiast, if you ask me. But he might have one.
I have a scary stat for you, Sneed. So you said it only went up a little bit usage. Scary stat for you. That's wrong. Usage has spiked to an average. So the average US smartphone user now consumes 31.4 gigabytes of data on a monthly basis. That is a jump from 6.
Hey, Sneed, could you highlight EM Tech's message after his super chat? I was trying to watch Pete read off my super chat, but my AT&T line dropped back down to HSPA Plus. How do you sell that network?
So let me get this straight. You're saying that the data usage has gone up and it's hurt the carriers?
No, I didn't say it's hurt the carrier. I'm just correcting something you said, which is the increase in data was small.
It is small.
Going from 6 to 31.4
is small.
That's I'm trying to do math. Hold up. That is a multiple of 5. That's a 5x increase in data usage in the span of
what has happened to their revenues?
Is it a 5x increase?
No, but my point is it's been worth it. Look at their growth. Look at their revenue. Dude, they increase their dividends. They're more profitable. Clearly the trade-off was to their benefit. They wouldn't do it if it hurt. Why would anybody want to sell more at less profit? That would be stupid. It's obviously helping their bottom line. I know it's more usage, but it doesn't hurt them for you to have more usage. So to me, the gig for them to provide to customers has decreased in cost. Their
It
operational cost.
It has decreased in cost to provide a gig of data.
So that's how I was trying to frame it, is the cost to give you a gig of data has gone down for them. Therefore, they don't care that you went from 6 to 32 gigs.
But I think they do care, at least a little bit.
They do.
By that I mean there's a reason why even the, I'm using quotation marks that you can't see, but even the unlimited plans very aggressively get managed, i.e. you're not going to see someone using a terabyte plus of data on their phone on AT&T without getting shut off.
Well, they only care about from moment to moment with a given tower site.
Yep.
You know, it's not, they don't, if you were legit, like if somehow, some way there was a plan that said you can't use more than 1 gig of data at any given tower site in a month, you could have 1,000 terabyte access and they wouldn't care. It's the fact that they know that you could blast the tower to death, degrade the service, and then people are calling and complaining, saying, "Why am I buffering?"
Well, if that is what you're saying, if that is the case, then wouldn't that be an argument against fixed wireless?
Well, no, I mean they've got Spectrum now. I'm saying you're talking about the old rules. We're talking about networking from 4G.
Yes, and I'm talking about networking today as well, because
It's still 4G. It's still the 4G standards. It's still 4G LTE cores.
Okay, fair.
You know, there's no network slicing. The MIMO is not up on tower sites at a grand scale. There's a lot that has to change.
Fair. But I know you wanted to end this at like an hour mark, and as always, I drag you past that footprint. And I know Yasmin is probably pouncing at the bit to watch that movie with her dad. So
yeah,
we're old.
We'll go ahead and call the show. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and end it. Skino, thanks for coming through, broski. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Big shout out to Dennis. Thanks for being on. And Pete,
Thanks
appreciate
for having me.
You guys are amazing. Thank you for coming on and talking tech. And
Hey, Sneed.
yeah, man.
Let me give a shout out to Moose, Santiago Fernandez, MS, Hector Hernandez, Alexis Bohr, John McNanian, Dan Tana, and EM Tech.
You guys are the best. Thank you for supporting the show.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks for all the super chats. Thanks to everybody who liked this video. If you haven't done that, please do that. Hop out of the live chat, hit the like button. If it's your first time here, you got to recommend, and here you are. Subscribe for more and turn on the bell notifications to never miss an upload. Check out Dennis's podcast channel, Best Phone Plans Podcast. Mods, if we can get a link to that. And Best Phone Plans on that website. Dennis is always on the show with me, so this is not the last time you're going to hear from that man. And the Bearded Dragon, he'll be back. Skino will have you back on the show too. You know it. And hashtag Mod Squad, hashtag Ravioli Gang, hashtag BBW, hashtag was it Save the Bear, Help the Bear?
Both of them. And man, we got the Ravioli Gang. Oh, hashtag 2 Live Crew, hashtag
Mod Squad.
Yep. And hashtag Mod Squad. You guys are amazing. Thanks for holding it down, keeping the trolls out of here, and keeping it positive in the live chat. Thanks to everybody, part of the community, all the supporters, all the viewers. You guys are the best.
Hey, Sneed, I want to say a couple things real quick.
Yeah, man.
For those who like my scripted content, I put up in office hours for a way to test your antivirus system on Windows. And I'm almost done with my script on Network Stack, so hopefully you get that done around Monday or Tuesday.
Awesome. And if you guys want to help out the channel, the best way to do that is to share this. Share it with a friend. Share it to your social media. Share it to family. Whatever. Post it. That helps me out. You know, it gets the channel some more exposure to some new faces and people that want to watch. More content coming up this weekend. I've got some testing to do as well, so I'll be filming. Pete, you want to do the Sunday show with me on Patreon?
I'm going to try, man.
All right, we'll see if we can coordinate that. If not, we'll have another guest on. Skino, we can bring you on the Sunday show too, man.
Yeah, if I can. Obviously, I tend to stay very busy, but if I can jump on, I will.
Yeah.
Hey, if it wasn't for that pesky D&D.
We'll throw out the link to the patrons too. We'll do some Q&A. Thanks for supporting. Thank you for watching. We out this piece.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.